geared heavily toward exalting the reputation of utility CEO Jorge Carrasco, according to newly released records. Carrasco objected to news coverage about the contract. He sent an email to Mayor Murray and the city council. And he said that City Light, quote, did contract with Brand.com to enhance City Light's online presence, not mine. However, that ain't true. Emails and other internal documents show that Carrasco was deeply upset about one particular piece about him from the Seattle Weekly. And so he asked Brand.com to go through the internet and wipe everything clean at taxpayer expense. Initially, Carrasco's top deputy defended the $17,500 contract spent with Brand.com, but then acknowledged that the effort was a mistake and said that the utility wants a refund. I don't understand why the utility should get a refund. Shouldn't Carrasco reimburse the utility? Wouldn't that be more useful? The guy does make $364,000 a year. He can't afford $17,000. He can't afford to give that back. This didn't deliver the results we intended, said Saphir Hamilton, chief of staff for City Light. I would not recommend this service to anyone. What he really means is he would not recommend getting caught to anyone, because that's super awkward. What was the final straw? City Light discovered that positive articles generated by Brand.com had vanished from the internet. Hamilton then sent a letter to the company demanding a full refund. They're not responding. Brand.com. A Brand.com rep said that the articles in question had been posted on sites that were avoided by Google and therefore were taken down. City Light hired Brand.com late last year as part of a larger and broader strategy to push the image of City Light. That included billboards and new logos. However, this particular contract was used to make Jorge Carrasco look good. In a September planning document, a City Light manager referred to the Brand.com contract as a means to deal with, quote, Carrasco search issue. So what did Brand.com do exactly? Well, it turns out they targeted search results for Jorge Carrasco Seattle City Light and Jorge Carrasco. Their pitch to City Light said that it was impossible to eliminate negative internet postings. However, they could suppress negative listings that could render them nearly invisible. They did that by creating kind of false PR pieces that they flooded the internet with and then used search engine optimization tools to push those to the top of Google. So most users would never see the old results. To prepare for the effort, Brand.com emailed City Light staffers asking them to, quote, collect as much positive press about Jorge from recent months as you can find. Hamilton, who's Jorge Carrasco's deputy, he says, Jorge is linked with the utility no matter how you look at it. So if he spends a bunch of money trying to have Brand.com paste pictures of his head onto Matthew McConaughey's body, I suppose that's all right. Hamilton also sought advice from the firm on how to make Carrasco's LinkedIn profile rank higher in the search results. A wonderful use of taxpayer money. They planted a bunch of articles in which Carrasco was quoted as an expert on green energy. They went to a bunch of different outlets and pitched him that way. They created an article with him praising a solar effort by a public utility in Austin, Texas, just so that they could improve his press. Just incredible stuff. There was a piece that was put up on the Huffington Post about how he was a big backer of solar energy, about affordable green technology for your home. When the Huffington Post piece went up in January, Hamilton emailed his public relations staff, quote, let's make a big deal of this. And Carrasco wrote back, Saphir, this is a really nice piece. And on Huffington Post, no less, two exclamation points. The Huffington Post blog item was taken down by the website this month after the Seattle Times disclosed its connection to the City Light PR campaign, and it was replaced by an editor's note saying that the item did not disclose a material conflict of interest. Even despite all of this, Carrasco was ticked about that Seattle Weekly article that we mentioned, because the article's headline was Short Fuse, Jorge Carrasco's polarizing tenure at the top of City Light. Carrasco emailed his deputy on February 16th, Saphir, I did a name search and found the subject article listed as 6, 5, or 4, depending on which name listing I used. It is clearly going in the opposite direction. Seems to confirm something is amiss. Apparently, Carrasco's deputies explored whether Google would delete the piece entirely, but they would have had to file a lawsuit. Hamilton said that's not a good idea. Carrasco forwarded his deputy articles about a court ruling in Europe that said people have a right to be forgotten by Google. Look, it's one thing to be sensitive about your profile. I get that. You know, if you're a public figure, there are going to be people who rip on you. Of course you're sensitive about your profile. The difference is when someone writes a hit piece on me, I don't come to your house, open your safe, take your cash, and then go spend it on my PR efforts. I mean, this is wild stuff, folks. But this is the dude who we have decided to give a $60,000 raise. His salary is going to be increased to $346,000 with the final raise to be determined by Mayor Murray. Honestly, if Mayor Murray does not get his feet held to the fire on Carrasco, then nobody in Seattle is paying any attention at all. Absolutely ridiculous stuff. Now, speaking of absolutely ridiculous, the Port of Seattle has now proposed that they're going to go 50 cents higher than the City of Seattle. They want a $15.50 total compensation airport wage by 2017. So now we're going to get into a race to the top in terms of salary, which will, of course, increase prices. It'll get passed on to the consumer. We'll all pay for it, but we can feel good about ourselves and pat ourselves on the back, so that's exciting. This is the Ben Shapiro Show, AM 770, KTTH, KTTH.com.